I'm going to share a screen with you now, and we're going to just talk through what we're doing in education at the moment. So you will all be familiar with this. I'm not going to read it out. This is our vision in NCT, and I know you know this because we are NCT. But it's just to say that this is very much at the heart of our education programme, because we're here for the parents. That is our reason for being, and education can help us to meet this vision. So in our short session today, what we're going to do is we're just going to talk you through what we're doing in education. This is the education team. I'm not going to read everybody out, but it's just to show you that this is the education team. It's small, it's beautifully formed, it's a highly skilled and highly experienced team. We've got our education management team, we've got our operations team led by Fleur, our education operations manager, and we've got our tutor team. And we do work in partnership with the University of Worcester, which I think most of you probably know. And it's a really good fit. It's a very positive and strong partnership that we have with the University of Worcester. So our current programmes, we're going to look at each one of these, not in a massive amount of detail because we don't have very long, and Claire will be telling me to hurry up if I'm not succinct and to the point. So currently at the moment we've got 3 courses, and we're going to look at each one. We've got the foundation degree in the birth and beyond, one or more specialisms. It's this year and next year is our last year for that. We've also got our Cert HE, perinatal education and practice, which is our new training route through that started this year. And we've also got our newly named NCT breastfeeding and perinatal support. It used to be called the one-to-one pathway, and currently that's working in a pilot, and I'm going to pass over to some of my colleagues to talk about that a little bit more. So we're going to take each one in turn, and for this, the level 5 pathways, I'm going to hand over to Rebecca to run us through what's happening in the foundation degree.
Okay, hi, thanks Kathy. So as Kathy said, this year and starting in September is the last time that these pathways can be studied in the format that they're currently in. So we're in what's called a teach out from the university. Really this has been our business as usual for the last few years. We have the 3 main pathways, the antenatal pathway, the breastfeeding pathway, and the postnatal pathway. And then we've also got the supporting specialisms. So the birth doula pathway, the yoga pathways, and baby massage. So I think really that's a photo of some of the doula students when we were in lockdown and we had to wear full PPE at Worcester in the clinical skills unit that we were in. So I think that's really all I need to say. So personally, I think if anybody that's on the call is interested in doing final modules or credits at Worcester, starting in September would be the last chance in their current format. So I'm going to hand on now. Kathy, I'm not sure who's next.
It's coming back to me initially. Thank you, Rebecca. So the Cert HE, which is our new training programme to train facilitators, and I'm not going to go through all of the modules in detail, but these are the modules that it's comprised of, and they're a real grounding in skills and knowledge and development in skills and knowledge. And we have the skills-based modules, facilitating learning in groups, reflective practice and informed decision-making in practice. And then we have the more knowledge-based, I mean, it all weaves together because it's a very integrated course, as I'm sure you can imagine, that everything is part of everything else. Our more knowledge-based modules are pregnancy and birth, knowledge and physicality, understanding the new baby and transition to parenthood, or as the tutors call it, the lovely baby module, because nobody can remember the snappy title, and breastfeeding knowledge. And we also have anti-discriminatory practice, which it isn't one of the university modules, but while anti-discriminatory practice is actually woven through the rest of the course, this is the unit that we've co-developed with BRAP, and we are running for our students, and there has been companion training for the tutors and the placement practitioners as well. And that's really focusing on so that our students are really confident to work with all parents across all parent groups across all communities. And that's been really interesting and exciting, and it's got three sessions with BRAP currently this year that our students do. So that's essentially the module bit of the Cert HE. And we also have a practice placement element, which is new to this course and which we've started this year and is a really exciting development. And I'm going to hand over to Fran and possibly Denise to tell us a little bit more about that. Fran?
Yeah, thanks, Kathy. So the practice placement element is, as Kathy's put on the slide, it links theory and practice. So our students are working with placement practitioners who are experienced practitioners, and they're working directly with them in their practice. So 4 courses through the placement with that placement practitioner, 2 within the Cert HE and 2 after. I have the privilege of working with a student myself, so it's been really exciting working alongside one of the new students. After they finish those 4 courses, which move from kind of observation and a bit of facilitation through to like full co-facilitation with that placement practitioner, the student runs their 5th course by themselves, and they're assessed by an NCT assessor on that 5th course, which will take place kind of towards the end of the year. Assuming that's all been satisfactorily completed, and they do a competencies portfolio, which brings together all their skills that they can evidence that they've picked up through their Cert HE and through their placement. They've got their Cert HE and then they are issued with a license to practice. So there'll be qualified practitioners popping out towards the end of the year and from January 23.
Denise, do you want to add anything in, or indeed any of the other students who are working, tutors who are working on the Cert HE, if there was anything that you wanted to add about the course or about working with the students?
I was just going to say that, so I'm a tutor as well, but I'm also a practitioner. So like Fran, I'm working with a student, and I think there's a few other placement practitioners on the call today. I did scan through quickly. So it's really great supporting them in practice, students that is, as they start to practice their facilitation skills in a real live lived experience. And we can work together and they can reflect on how well that's going and what's going really well and what they can improve on. And I actually say, I think most of us feel that it's actually really great for us, because we're lone workers really when we're out there with parents, and it's really nice to work with someone else that we can reflect with. So hopefully it's a good all-round experience.
Great. Thank you. And we as a team, we'd like to take this opportunity as a call to action, really. If anybody who is a practitioner wants to put themselves forward for next year to work with students, it would be amazing to hear from you, because we do need more practitioners to come forward. And we're going to be evaluating all of this, of course, because it's the first time we've run it. And also next year, just to say, in case anybody wants to know, this year it's run full-time, the Cert HE, but we have now had it approved to run the course part-time. So from September, the Cert HE will be possible to be studied full-time or part-time. And we're hoping that that's going to be really positive for our students. So I'm now going to move to NCT perinatal and breastfeeding and perinatal support. And we do have all 3 tutors here, I think, on the call who are working on this. It's been running as a pilot and it's going to run fully fledged from September. So Anna, Janet, Isabel, do any of you want to talk us through this pathway?
Yeah, thank you. Shall I kick off? Isabel isn't very well, so I think she's going to just listen. We were only aware that breastfeeding counsellor training was on pause when we set up the new Cert HE. So we wanted to put in place training for those people who wanted to work one-to-one with parents but didn't want to be facilitating the antenatal, the breastfeeding session, the antenatal course. So we have designed this new course, which we've been running as a pilot this year, and have now had the go-ahead to run it as a fully fledged course from September. We've got 10 students who should be qualifying this summer. And I have been brought into the team. Those of you who know me know I'm a postnatal practitioner, not a breastfeeding counsellor, but I've come in to bring in some of my knowledge about the perinatal period, because as breastfeeding counsellors will know, a lot of the conversations you have with new mothers and parents are not necessarily about breastfeeding, but they might be about sleep or postnatal mental health or relationship difficulties. So I've come into the team to sort of offer that perspective. And you know, who knows where that might lead to in the future in terms of postnatal support that NCT can offer. I don't know, Janet, whether you want to say anything more about the breastfeeding part of the course.
I think just to add to that, Anna, first of all, a shout out, because I saw a couple of names of our students on the one-to-one pathway, so shout out to them. But also to say that the real advantage of this new training, the way it's set up, is that if and we're all aware that as breastfeeding counsellors, it's not a great income generator, the work. So it's a pathway that people can take if they want to do the one-to-one work. But if they then wish to go on and add the breastfeeding session facilitation, for example, they can then take a module from another module from the Cert HE. So it has and then if they want to go on and do the full antenatal course, then they can add those modules. So it's got a real flexibility to it. So you can fit it in to your interests and the areas that you want to work in. So I think that's a real positive. And we've just loved the last year. I just want to say that we've had a great time with the students, and we feel very hopeful that this new training will embed in and feel very much part of the education offer that NCT has.
I might just add, sorry, Janet, that you can see from the slide there, you know, this year we've got sort of almost a 50-50 split between existing practitioners who wanted to do breastfeeding counsellor. Hopefully this is the question, Jen, I'm just about to answer actually. So we've got students who are existing antenatal teachers who have just done the breastfeeding and perinatal tutorials. And then we've got external candidates. We've got 4 external candidates this year who have done the University of Worcester module. So they've added in the reflective practice and informed decision-making modules from Worcester. Does that answer your question, Jen? I saw pop up.
Yes.
Yes, I was going to clarify that there's the 2 routes depending on whether somebody's an already qualified practitioner, or indeed if somebody has done the Cert HE, they could come on and do the one-to-one pathway. And all the students on the NCT breastfeeding and perinatal support, whether they're existing practitioners purely doing the in-house element, or whether they are new to NCT doing the University of Worcester modules as well, they all do the anti-discriminatory practice unit that is now part of the course and the training for all our students coming through whichever one of our programs or courses that they are doing. Okay, so
the cost of the training. Somebody's asking about the cost of the training. Do you want to just trip those numbers off your tongue?
Fleur?
I was just going to say, if anyone obviously has got any queries about the training, I'm here. Please do contact me directly. So that we can have separate conversations and I can take anyone through. We've got plenty of course information. So please, you can email me directly. Obviously, I'm fleur.lee, nct.org.uk, or you can email us at ncttraininginquiry.org.uk. Please contact me and we can answer all those specific questions.
Great. And obviously, if anyone wants to ask anything about the education programme in general, then obviously email me as well. Just the quick answer, I haven't seen the chat, I can't see the chat, so I've got my screen up as well, but is if you're an existing practitioner wanting to do this, it's £750. If it was somebody from outside, it would be the cost of the modules.
So there's just a quick question from Megan there. Megan, this is different from the voluntary role breastfeeding counsellor that some of you may remember we did a couple of years of a few years ago. So the people who are qualified on the pathway are able to do any of the paid roles, that with additional training, obviously, for the facilitation.
Thank you, Janet. I'm aware of time, so I'm going to just do the last slide and come out of it, and then maybe if there are any other questions, those might be gathered for the end. I'm just going to finish and close up our whiz through our amazing, extraordinary and fabulous education model with a photograph of our students at Worcester last year. This is graduation, and this is some of our students last year. And as you can see, our student here is very heavily pregnant. I think she gave birth the next day. But you know, sort of dedication, get to graduation. So I'm now going to stop sharing, and I think that brings us to the end of our education whiz through, if that's okay.